Hi, my name is Brandy and I want to welcome you to my channel, Sewing Back. I wanted to talk today to you just briefly about some of my favorite vegetable garden fertilizers. I've actually had a few of my friends private messaging me. They know I like to garden and they have asked me, what are you using? I have invested in a small garden and I want to get something. I would like to be able to get fruit, veg, and so what do you recommend? And so today I just wanted to share with you 3 of my favorite fertilizers that I like to use in my garden. But before I do that, first thing I want to say is your best bet for garden success is starting with healthy plants. So be aware where you're buying your plants. Make sure that you trust whoever's selling them. If you're doing it yourself, I think that's fantastic. Just know there's a learning curve. I'm in that this year, as most of my plants I have grown from seed. And this was my first year having a greenhouse, and it gave me the ability to grow on a larger scale. So that's not to say that I haven't had some hiccups with that, because there's learning. You learn, and honestly, when you fail, that's when you learn the most. So and there's no shame if you have to go and you have to buy some store plants, or you want to buy store plants. Some people just don't have the time, or they don't have the setup to start from seed. It is cheaper, as I will tell you, starter plants this year are very expensive. I will recommend to you to check out your local farmers markets, as many of them have horticulturists who are selling their starts, and they are healthy starts usually. Matter of fact, some of my best ones have come from the farmers market in years past, and not the big box stores. And typically the people who are at your farmers market, they are your master gardeners in your area, and they can give you all kinds of knowledge about how they started your seed, how they garden. Usually they're very willing to share with you. So I highly recommend you give that a try, because one example, I went to my local farmers market this past weekend. I have had so luck on my pepper plants this year. They're just kind of difficult, and I knew that. I still have some, but I didn't want to hedge my bets on just what I had. So I wanted to pick up a few that I know that I like, and so I went over to a guy I know I've bought plants from. I've bought trees from him that I actually have growing, and he was selling 4 packs of like Cherokee purple tomatoes for $3. That's a great price, because you go to a big box store in our area and you'll be lucky if you can get one tomato plant for it's about $4.78, $6.68, depending on what store you're going to, and that's for one plant, not 4. So keep that in mind, and never forget those local farmers markets, because these people, this is how they're trying to make a living. So with that, I want to get on to the fertilizer. So one of the things you have to start with, we know you have to start with healthy plants, okay? That's going to help give you your greatest success. The second thing is you have to have the appropriate amount of sun and water, and if you don't have enough sun, then you need to think about what you're planting, and you may want to pick plants that are more shade tolerant. And there are things you can grow that are. All right. The next thing that you really want to do is you have to remember you have to feed your plants. You may have great soil. You may buy soil that tells you on the bags that it'll feed your plants 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. I even saw one that said that it would feed for 9 months. That's just not accurate. And so you just have to know, just like you have to eat, they have to eat. And if you ever notice on your boxes or bags of fertilizer and stuff, you'll have the 3 numbers, you know, and so those are the most important nutrients that your plants need. And so keep that in mind. You will see some they call the blue stuff, the blue cracks, like crack for your plants, and 10 10 10, but there are some that go up like 20 20 20. And just know, if you start using that, first of all, that's usually not organic stuff, and if you start using that stuff, you have to use it, excuse me, we got flies, you have to use it very regularly. Your plants they rely on it. And when you use those kind of things, it does feed your plants, but it robs your soil. So it's really better to pick a good organic fertilizer that is OMRI approved. It'll have, I'm going to kind of give away, it's going to have that little logo on the packaging that will tell you that that's organic certified. So if you're trying to grow natural more organically. And the reason that you want to consider doing that, while compost, all those things are great, compost isn't always readily available. Like, it takes time to break down depending on what kind of compost you're using. It's great to put compost in your beds to refresh them at the beginning of the season, but you will have to feed them with a fertilizer. And just because the numbers are higher doesn't necessarily mean that that's better for your plants. Think about it if you're trying to lose some weight and you know, this always, I can think of all through my life, all the different commercials that, you know, I lost 7 pounds in 7 days, or I lost this or that. And the truth of it is, okay, well, if you go see that same person, you know, in, I don't know, 3 months, did they keep it off, or a year, or whatever? And typically, no, they gained more, and they did more harm than good. And you have those other people who diet, exercise, they just work a little as you go, and hey, maybe they lose 10 pounds in a year, and that's a big thing for them. But you know what? The next year, they probably lost another 10 pounds because they're doing it the right way for their body. So more and faster feeding, all that is not always best. I know that sometimes you may be on your last leg and that's all you have. Then, you know, that's what it is. But for my gardens, I want to try to protect my soil. We have made a huge investment in our soil, in our beds, and that means using an organic fertilizer when we feed our plants. We also do not feed our plants, we try not to overfeed our plants. I try to stretch it out a little bit. And that may mean I have to wait, you know, maybe a couple weeks before other people are getting tomatoes, before I get tomatoes. But fertilizers, they still get in your soil, even if they're organic, and they can some of them can still work against your soil if you use too much. So just remember, you know, that you have to feed them, but the higher numbers are not always the better numbers. And so I want to tell you about my first one, the company that I really like, and this is called Down to Earth, and this one is their BioLive. I also have their fish emulsion one. I actually got this locally at a hydroponics store in Atlanta, Georgia. And matter of fact, they're Atlantis Hydroponics, I believe is the name. And I love when I'm starting out and I'm planting, whether I'm planting from a started plant or if I'm planting direct seed. I love to put a little bit of this into my soil, work it into my soil. It is granulated, and just to help really give those roots a chance to have a boost. I like this one. This one has the 542. And so, which is your NPK. So the first number is your nitrogen. That's what's going to give you the lush green on your plants. The P which is the number 4 here. That is your phosphorus, which that's going to promote blooms, which is important if you want fruit. And then the K is potassium, so that's your number right here. That would be 2. I don't know if you can see it, sorry, 2. And that your potassium is kind of your potash. That's what really helps give your plant a strong quality fruit. It also helps within the plant's metabolism. So this is a great number to start with. So I really like the down to earth fertilizers. I think, like I said, I think they're really quality products, and I can't tell you what their prices are right now because I bought a good bit last year and I haven't had to go down and check. So when I bought them last year for this box, which is 5 pounds, I paid $13.99. I imagine it's a lot more than that now, but I couldn't tell you exactly how much. I'm sure you can find this online as well, but love this product. And like I said, I like to use this one when I'm starting out. My second one is my favorite. It also has my favorite soil company, which is the Happy Frog soil, and it is by Fox Farm Soil and Fertilizer Company. And this is also granulated, and if you can see on these numbers, we have the 645. Okay, so that's going to be your nitrogen, and then we had our potassium. Lord, I gotta get my cheat sheet, y'all. Phosphorus. No, your phosphorus is the second number, phosphorus, and then the 5 is going to be your potassium, which potassium, think potash. Maybe that'll help me remember. This one I love, and this one has the microbes that you're adding into your soil, which are so important. Bacteria is so important. Matter of fact, I just finished using this bag. I love their products. They have phenomenal products, but I love to use this when I'm doing a refresh on a bed. I have raised beds. I have quite a few. So when I'm coming in, going from winter crops to summer crops, and I've just pulled everything out and I need to do a refresh, I like to broadcast this and work it in my soil before I ever plant. And this one just gives it a nice little oomph. And I know you can get this stuff on Amazon. I don't know if you can buy it directly from their site. I actually got this local. I actually got this one at the hydroponics store where I bought the Down to Earth, and I paid $15.95 for it. So again, I imagine, and this one is a 4-pound bag, so good stuff. Which leads me to my favorite fertilizer as you're going along in your garden and you have to fertilize, you have to feed your plants. And it is also a Fox Farm, and this one is Grow Big. It's liquid. This one's a liquid. And I have an old gallon, like one of those alkaline water gallons that I saved, and I put 2 capfuls. It has directions. This is just what I do. It'll tell you how much. If you have a plant that's a heavy feeder, like corn, then you would probably put about 4 capfuls to a gallon if you wanted to use this for your corn. I have not used this for our corn. Last year we went really heavy on composting with our corn. Not sure what we're going to do with that just yet. But all my other plants, including my house plants, I use this. And so for house plants, you wouldn't use as much, and you certainly wouldn't feed as often. But for outside, for your vegetables and your fruits, and you can do flowers as well. You're gonna put. I put 2 capfuls. I just keep it simple. Do 2 capfuls to a gallon of water, and then I go around, and you don't pour it directly on the plant. You pour it at the base of the plant around it, and not the whole gallon. You just kind of give it a drink and move on to your next plant. So I bought this one local. I actually got this one at Busy Bee Nursery. It's in the Woodstock. I'm not sure if it's Woodstock or if it's Ackworth, but it's in that area up off of Highway 92 in Bells Ferry. If you want to go in and just get a bottle local, again, I know you can get this like on Amazon and places like that. I will tell you, I bought this last summer. I paid $16 for it, and I can tell you I bought my mother-in-law a bottle to go along with a gift, a gardening gift for her, and it was almost $29. So I'm guessing probably all these fertilizers have probably doubled with the price of everything. However, it's worth every penny because the yield you'll get is amazing, and because it's such a good quality, I can go and not have to feed my plants every week. There will be some people say they feed their plants every week. I do not. I actually feed mine about every 3 weeks unless they're really struggling, but that's about it. And this one, if you notice, has your numbers. The liquid, what you need to know the difference between the liquid and the granular is the liquid is going to be fast acting. It's going to hit it right then. Your granular stuff is going to be more later after the fact. It comes over time. It feeds it. But these numbers, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read. I can't read it backwards. Are 644, and that gives you a good boost of your nitrogen, your phosphorus, and your potassium, and that's what most plants need. This one also, I don't think this one has the microbes, so that's why this one is really good, you know, to put on in your soil before you plant. And also the BioLive has microbes, so depending on, you know, what you're doing when you're doing that, those are not in this. You can also buy soils that have the microbes, which is always a great thing. Also adding worms is great. So anyway, these are my 3 favorite vegetable garden fertilizers. And remember, the most important thing is you have a healthy plant to start with, you have good soil to start with, and that your plant and your soil needs to be watered, it needs to have sunshine, and it has to be fed. And just keep in mind that the bigger numbers are not always better. You will grow bigger plants. I'm not going to lie to you. They will grow as long as you keep giving them that high amount of your NPK. But that does not mean that that's what's best for your soil, because if you just trash your soil, it's not going to work really well for you in the years to come. So think the long game and think about, you know, what's best for everything. The last thing I want to say before I check out is when you use these products, whether you use organic, whether you use synthetic, most of them, let me see, yes, you can see here, can you see that? Yes, these are not for your animals, but your animals will be attracted to them. They have a pungent smell. Some of them are kind of strong smelling, especially the fish emulsion is very strong smelling. But your dogs and cats will want to, you know, dig it up. So be mindful of that. If you're going to be feeding something in an area where you have dogs or cats or something like that, you might actually want to go more with a liquid than maybe the granular. The granular probably want to be able to have a way to keep those pets out, because I don't know that it would kill your pet. It could. I don't know. I'm not a veterinarian. I don't claim to be. But I can tell you I have pets, and that it could cause dehydration from severe, let's just say severe stomach upset. So it's not ideal. It's not for them. It's for plants, and so be mindful of that if you have animals. But anyway, thank you for taking time to find out what my favorite fertilizers are. If you have favorite fertilizers that are different from mine, I'd love to hear about it. Please leave it in the comments. I'm always trying to get new information, and if you found this of value, or you think it might help someone, would love it if you would like and subscribe to our channel. I'll work on saying I'm sorry. I'm not great at all this yet. Don't know if I'll ever be great at it, but I do like sharing what I'm learning and what I know. And thank you for taking the time to listen to me, and I hope you have a really blessed day. Until next time.